Hello guys, welcome to the second episode of Ifstar. And today I'm with Arulambo, a friend. Arulambo is not actually his particular name, but like we call him Arulambo because that's for some reason that people decided to give him that name. So it's a talented data engineer, and we're happy to have you on the show, Mr. Arulambo.
Thank you.
Can you tell us the what's the reason behind this Arulambo? How did Arulambo come
To be
about?
honest, you're actually very wrong. Arulambo is my full surname, and my dad shortened it from Arulambo to Aru. Yeah, Arulambo is actually my surname. It's a family
Really?
of Musa Arulambo.
Lambo is like a
Yeah,
it's like a Lamborghini. Why?
it's a title. The surname is a title. So I'm from the Musa Arulambo family, and then some people went ahead to do Arulambo. Some people went ahead to do just Aru, like my dad.
Huh. That's quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you're into data engineering.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background? Like, so what was your background like when it comes to like software engineering and getting to do things about software?
Yeah. I think my first stint at software engineering was in SS3. There was one of my older brothers then that started writing Java. So because I got into doing a lot of tunneling, VPN, creating VPNs to
You create VPNs?
yeah. So I was doing a lot of VPN stuff then. So there was a lot of like all this MTN cheat and stuff like that. So I was creating VPN to tunnel all those things for us to be able to browse. That was my first stint at software engineering. So all that was very interesting. I wanted to like know more about those things. So he then told me to learn either Java or Python. So I started with Java, but Java wasn't very friendly. So I went back to Python. That was in SS3. But it wasn't exactly interesting because one, I didn't have a good laptop. Two, I finished secondary school and OU was wasting my time. I mean, I got admission 2013, but OU we did not resume until 2014. So it was 1 year sitting at home doing absolutely nothing. And then I started to like work for a school then. So it wasn't a lot of learning. But when I got into school, it was like full heads on, like, because I met like minds like Shaw and the likes. So yeah, I started with Python. And then I realized that I wasn't exactly sure what to do with Python. So I went back to Java that I was originally told to start with. I went back to Java and then I started my career with Android development. So Android was the first thing I was doing, building Android apps. I remember working with some guy from CU. I forgot the name of the app. Who built something with one of my friends. I think Ojima is now the head of engineering with PiggyVest. So we built one Android app. I can't remember the name. And that's how I started my Android development career. And then I joined Sunwoo. I was very fortunate to join Sunwoo and help them build their Sunwoo app then in school. I'm sure you remember Sunwoo in school. Yeah, tap to pay. So I did.
I tried buying some.
Yeah, fair enough. So I did the Android stuff. That was back in 2015. And yeah, that was how I got into like Android. I was doing a lot of Android until 2016, where I then joined Terragon. Terragon was like the big change in my career. I mean, Terragon wasn't exactly Android engineering. Terragon employed me as a software engineer. Obviously, if you don't have to major in one particular niche when it comes to like all general engineering. I mean, you can do back end or front end or Android or core software, like depending on whatever it is that you want to do. But Terragon was like, all of us are going to be software engineers. We are going to build stuff. So that was how I got into proper software engineering, mostly back-end focused. So I did a lot of front-end also with like Angular. Then it was Angular 1. I did a lot of Angular JS, but it was mostly back-end engineering with both Python and JavaScript. That was my first stint at JavaScript when I was at Terragon. So I was in pure back-end engineering, but from like 2016 till 2018. And 2018, my then CTO Deji came and said, "Oh, now Terragon wants to be a data company. We have a lot of data. We want to start doing something with this data. We want to start processing this data. So you're going to be the first data engineer of the company." I'm like, okay, what's data
Just
engineering?
start
What am I
from-
supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
Right.
And it was a case of, okay, what exactly is data engineering? Then, I mean, data engineering is still very early, but then, I mean, at talking in 2018, it was still very, very early. Although a lot of companies were already doing proper data engineering with like Hadoop stuff and all of all that, but we didn't have that knowledge. I think Terragon was kind of like the first company that started proper data engineering in Nigeria. I mean, that's one of the reasons why AWS reached out to us then to understand what we were doing. So yeah, I started out with like very simple stuff, Java, doing very batch Java jobs, processing data, storing it for all these ML guys to process that data. And since then, since 2018, I've been doing data engineering and I've not looked back, although I've worked in like obviously different industries, but like it's still the same core principles of data engineering that I've been using since 2018. And this is for 2025. So I'll say 7 years. Yeah. 7 years. Yeah.
Bro, that's loaded. That's so you can almost like see we're destined for this.
Maybe. Yeah. I think looking back, actually, it was the right choice for my career, to be honest. I think one thing the CTO then and then my engineering manager, Shakespeare, did was that they actually trusted me to do this. Yeah, I was the first data engineer in the company. They told me they wanted me to be the data engineer. And yeah, they trusted me with that, and it was the best thing that happened in my career because it was kind of like a very, very new niche. It was very new in Nigeria. Data engineering was, I mean, there was already data science and data analysts, but there wasn't data engineering.
But I'm pretty sure you must have taken some sort of grit and searching for knowledge to be able to like.
Yeah, it was very tough because even till now, there's still no tailored data engineering focused course out there. Like it was a case of reading a bunch of things, YouTube, just learning different things. Like, but there are obviously fundamentals. Like as a data engineer, you have to know Python, you have to know SQL, and then every other thing is addition. So what are the tools that you need to use to do data engineering? Like we're talking Apache Spark or Kafka, depending on your company. All these are very, very company based. But like the fundamental is Python and SQL, which is very important. So yeah, that's it.
When I was researching you, it said that you won Cowbell mathematics competition. What was the year?
That was 2010.
2010.
Yeah.
So you won the national Cowbell competition.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel back then? Like, was that a turning point? Like, okay, you know what? I think I'm actually be somebody in life.
Yeah, it was. But I think it all started from before then. That was JSS3. I think the biggest thing was, so in JSS1, I mean, Ambassadors College, JSS1, we did 14 subjects.
Wow.
Yeah, we did 14 subjects in JSS1, and during the prize giving day, there was only one person that won all the 14 prizes. Kumefayo Falola. If you are seeing this Kumefayo Falola, just like I mentioned you, she won all the 14 prizes. And my mom was seated beside me, waiting to hear my name called for one of the courses. And then it was best in English language, Kumefayo Falola, best in maths, Kumefayo Falola, and it went on and went, not even Yoruba. My mom was just looking at me. So not Yoruba, not one subject, not final, not one subject. But and like she said a lot of things that day. I can't remember the exact things she said, but I remember her saying that, how is a girl collecting 14 prizes? Like, does she have to quit? And that was the game changer for me. It was a case of thinking about it, like how at least not even to other people, like not just me now. I'm talking about other people now. Like she literally collected all the 14 subjects. And it was a game changer. I was like, nah, I need to actually, like, I need to be better, that kind of thing. So yeah, so JSS1 holiday was literally heads on summer lessons and stuff like that. So JSS2 was the turning point for me. That's when people started to like notice me. So in my school then we used to do, what's it called, Kings and Queen and Slave. Although thinking about it now, it was a very, 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 I mean, they had good intentions, but it wasn't executed the right way. So basically, we write tests every week. They mark our tests. So if you get above 80, you're a king. They call you out. Oh, kings and queens of this week. These are people that got above 80 over 100. They call you, and people that got below 30, I think.
Slave?
Call them out. Yeah, slave. And then they'll print
Bro, that's wild.
I was thinking about it and I was able
That's nasty.
yeah, it made
I mean, these are kids now. What do you mean?
yeah. I mean, there was a lot of segregation in my school then. I don't know if they've changed a lot of things right now, but like they had good intentions. They wanted people to like, obviously if they call you out as slave once, your steez don't spoil. So you have to like improve and not be called a slave. And then if they call you out as king, obviously, because I don't know about now, but
do you think that bred some kind of? So I don't think we could have bred some kind of LD competition, but like, what kind of competition does that?
What's LD? I don't want to say it was LD. I can't honestly. We're kids.
Yeah, but like it that kind of situation shapes you. It shapes how you see other people. It shapes how you like.
Yeah. But like
the situation.
At least it was positive for me. It was a case of.
You were winning now.
Yeah, exactly. So I wasn't just winning. So they'll call kings based on score. Like if you get 80, you're the one that they'll first call, and then they call the highest person. I was always reaching for the highest. Like I was, that case of they've called everybody and it's now me that is left the highest king of all 95, 96, that kind of thing. And then they'll call me out. Yeah. That was a big changer for me. And then just a super prize giving day came. I was best in math. I was best in Greek. I was best in like 4 or 5 subjects. And then it was, I can do this. And then Mr. Yanu, if you are also saying this, Mr. Yanu Oshawa, you are the biggest change in my life. Thank you. Mr. Yanu saw my potentials in maths and realized that I can be better. I can be better at what I was doing. There's this thing Manuel Akonji is a football, Man City football player, does mental maths where he can kind of like do a lot of calculations in his head without like rushing.
No, I didn't know that.
Like if you tell him like say 4931 times 347, like he can actually do those multiplications. These are the things that I used to do then. Like I was very, 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 very good with mental mathematics. Like I could add, subtract, multiply, divide things like very fast.
And you think that helped you in your career?
Yeah, literally. Like it was a case of I was good at maths. Just as TV came and it was like, this is it. Cowbell came, like they threw me into Cowbell. Mr. Yanu said I was ready for Cowbell, and then I went to Cowbell and I wrote the first national stage, which was Ogun State. It wasn't obviously because math, Cowbell, you don't use calculator, so it was proper solving with your head and multiplying. So you needed to be good with mental mathematics. And then I came out of that exam where I was feeling. I told Mr. Yanu that I didn't finish because it was actually very, very, very hard. But I think I kind of like did all the things I did. I think I did it well. And then the result came out. I got 60 over 100, and I was first in Ogun State. Yeah, that's how tough the questions were. It was actually very, very tough. I got 60, and I was first in Ogun State. And it was a case of interesting. Who's that fucking boy? Who is that guy? Like Ogun State has literally always been Igomode and Otatota and Mayflower and all this school, and then ambassadors came literally from nowhere, and it was a 12-year-old boy really has just won Ogun State, and then the school was like literally on, I don't know, like the owner of the school was so like what, like wow, basically, like wow, and I was shocked. I remember them calling me out on assembly that day that I won the Ogun State level. I'm like, what have I done? Like, what have I done? And then they said I'd proceeded to the next stage, which was national. And then I went for national, and then I went highest to become a winner in national. I remember when they were calling all of us for the national, I knew I was going to win. Like I was that confident. Like I was so sure that I was going to win. Like I did well. Like I did so well, and I knew I was going to win, and I did. And that was like literally the game changer. So I knew math was my way. But the funniest thing is that throughout senior secondary school, I never won best in maths. Messi and Ojima were always beating me to maths in secondary, in SS1, SS2, and SS3. Although I won best in further maths, but I never won best in maths in secondary school. But I knew that maths was my way. My mom wanted me to do medicine. I knew it wasn't possible because I didn't exactly like biology like that. I knew maths was my way. Although I wanted to do electronics engineering. Because I grew up with my dad being very, very hands-on. My dad did mechanical engineering. and then it was very hands-on, introduced us to a lot of things like electrical stuff and mechanical stuff, which is one of the things that I wanted to do then. But I was just lucky that OAU handed me computer science. Computer engineering, actually, I crossed from computer engineering to computer science. And literally that was the game changer. So yeah, I would always look back at my secondary school as the biggest change in my life when it comes to like where I am right now. It started all from there. Maths. I mean, there's a saying, math and physics rules the world, which is, I can agree with that. Math and physics actually rules the world. So yeah, if you're good at maths, if you're good at physics, I think you can actually do a lot of things.
No doubt it actually changed your trajectory in life, and that's very interesting to see. So in let's go a little bit forward.
Yeah.
In year 2020,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't I not know in 2020. I think I met you 2021.
2021, yeah.
Yeah, but like 2020, 2021, you were receiving you got a bunch of jobs that paid you extremely high salary in the context of this environment. Actually, in the global context, it's actually you were earning like around 170K or something,
Yeah.
or something thereabout.
Something like that, yeah.
That's wild. Given that the average salary in Nigeria is like, I don't know, probably from 8K per year or 1M per year, depending on your level of this thing.
Yeah.
So how do you think how were you able to land those roles? Like, did you have a special skill that employers were looking for, or was this something of like this guy is just like good, let's just employ him or something?
Yeah, a lot of things, to be honest. It was both luck and hard work and being in the right place at the right time.
Okay, I would.
I joined Andela in 2020. And Andela, obviously everybody knows Andela was the pioneer for remote jobs then in Nigeria, because they had access to many of these American companies. So I joined Andela, and then I was fortunate enough to work with Stud. That was then when I was in Andela. But I left Andela and joined Stud directly. And that was like the game changer. So having an American company on your CV was like, if an American company can employ me, then
Yeah.
why not? Like, why not the world? So it was like the big change. And obviously I had the skills. Like, the interview with Stud was actually very, very, very technical. I had the skills. I obviously they knew I could do the job, and I had a very good time with Stud, because the team was actually very small, and then I was able to like express myself well. And that's why I've enjoyed like working with a lot of startups. Like, when you work with startups and you have this level of autonomy, you can actually do a lot of things. Like, you can try different things and fail and try and do different things and all that. That's what happened with Stud. And then from Stud, it just went the only way was up. How did they say it? Yeah, the only way is up. That was what happened. The only way was up after Stud. So I then joined DeFi Pulse, which is how I got into blockchain. Yeah, I joined DeFi Pulse. I did a lot of stuff with the blockchain data. It was it was a very large data, and but the good thing about the blockchain data was very, very defined. It was the same structure. Like, so we have to I didn't have to worry about data quality and all that. Although earlier data in the Ethereum blockchain was so bad, because people were literally just dumping different things until it was then properly defined, and then it became better. But yeah, Stud, DeFi Pulse, literally changed that. My skill set was good. I was able to amass like a lot of learnings and experience working with Stud, because I worked with Stud, and then I worked with different partners like DHL and all these different distribution networks that we had then. But yeah, I was also fortunate enough to work with like very, very, very brilliant minds then. So
I don't know. So a lot of things that you say, because I'm not in that field, goes over my head. But like, say for somebody watching this, and maybe a younger person is watching this, and or maybe an older person, and they want to like get into this industry or what you do, where would you advise them to start? Is there like a structure, like or something that you say, you know what, try this, try that, follow this step, and then perhaps you get to that stage?
Honestly, my learning with data engineering was very, very, wasn't very structured. But I'll say the fundamental thing is Python and SQL. Like, you need to know Python, you need to know SQL, and you need to know Linux. Bash. Yeah, you need to know all of these three things, which is a fundamental. And then it now depends on, most of these things are usually like company dependent. So for example, some companies are very heavy on tools like say Snowflake or BigQuery. If you are AWS heavy, then probably Redshift and maybe Spark and all that. So it's quite difficult to kind of like say, oh, go and learn Spark, or go and learn Kafka. I mean, Spark, most companies that do a lot of big data engineering use Apache Spark, because Spark is like it's the guy for data engineering. It's the guy for big data right now. Like, there are not a lot of tools out there that are competing with Spark. So Spark is still the big guy there. So I'll say Spark, you should be able to add Spark to your tool sets. And then build stuff, like build pipelines. Like, you need to be able to build end-to-end pipelines, like get data from like random places, like say for example finance data. You can get a lot of finance data from Yahoo, build a finance pipeline, processes data, and kind of like build a dashboard that says, oh, Google stock has risen, this is how Google stock has performed over the last 5 years, and all over. Just kind of like get that end-to-end feeling of how data moves across the system. Like, can you actually make sense of raw data? If I give you a raw weather data, can you make sense of this data? Can you process this data, put it in the right place, and then build a very simple dashboard that says, oh, rain has fallen in Ibadan for the last 2 years around April. So I think that in the next, obviously you're now getting into like some data science, machine learning stuff when you start to like do predictions and stuff, but like just building that ETL pipeline that processes the weather data, stores it in proper format, and like you can display that with probably a very, very simple dashboard. Is a very, very good start. You're not gonna find a lot of like very structured data engineering course out there. I know there are a lot of guys on Twitter that are doing very, very good stuff. Like I said, Python, SQL, there may be Spark, and then understanding some data warehousing systems. There's also a book that I'll recommend, Fundamentals of Data Engineering.
Okay.
It doesn't exactly pick on any tool, but it talks about like the proper fundamentals of data engineering and why data engineering and how to do data engineering regardless of tools, because tools are just tools. Like, they are just a means for you to be able to do something. You need to
do an actual work.
Exactly. You need to actually understand the fundamentals. So yeah, I would advise also, if you're going to get into data engineering, you should also get fundamentals of data engineering.
That's interesting. If you're watching this out there, well, if you want to be a data engineer, you have to like do all this stuff. I suppose.
Fair.
I mean, I'm not in that industry. I would like to get into that in, I don't know, 200k per year too.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So let's talk about Nigeria.
Yeah.
You no longer live in Nigeria. You stay. I don't know where you stay now. I mean, I don't want to, what made you leave Nigeria? Like with someone earning that amount of money, you'll be living like a king in Nigeria.
Maybe
you were actually living like a king in Nigeria.
if you say so.
So what's spurred the move? Like, so okay, let me hear what you have to say.
It was a lot of things. It was a lot of things actually. One, I remember waking up one morning, and it was when, I don't know, who came to news to tell us that Snake swallowed 30 billion naira. And I remember being in Osho's house that day, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, what is happening? Like, what is happening? And it was a case of, nah, I can't do this again. Like, I can't continue to listen to things like this. Like, I needed to like do something different. Like, and again, I wanted to like start to like think about like a lot of people don't actually aspire to do great things in Nigeria, just because of some of the things that have happened with the country and all that. But I wanted to like do a lot of like great things. I didn't want to have to like think about so many things. Like for example, fixing my own electricity, calling Peter and telling him, please, can you bring extra 2 batteries and 24 panels to my roof, because this one that you have given me is not lasting again because there's no light and all that. Like, it was that. And there was also the police issue where obviously like I get stopped every single time and profiled, I will bore all those kind of things. Like every single time I show them like, this is, I work, like this is it, like you can see my messages with my manager and all of that. Like I work, I'm a software engineer, but having to like explain that every single time, and like I was always getting very anxious, like driving, like to the point where
Yeah, when you see a police,
yeah,
you also
I'm
like
so scared. Like
skip a minute.
I tinted my car then, and then I went to like remove all the tints. Like now I couldn't cope again with the old problem. Like they'll stop me regardless. So let me just quickly remove the tint and forget about it. So like doing all those things like for example disguising as a proper engineer and all that, because I cannot explain to them that I'm a software engineer without them profiling me as a Yahoo boy. So it was all those things. And I was also thinking about my future family. I want the best for my kids also. I want to be able to travel the world. Like we have a lot of there's a lot of downsides to holding Nigerian passports, to be honest. Like we don't have that accessibility to the world. We hardly get visas. If you are gonna get visa, you're probably gonna wait ages to get visa. My first stint at visa was applying for a South African visa. And they held my passport for so long and it was rejected because they said they couldn't prove my source of income and my work status. Whereas I submitted my work bank statement, I submitted all the letters, like numbers are there. You can just call my company, Terragon, then and say, oh, those are right, and we work with Terragon. As simple as that. But they said they couldn't prove it. Like you couldn't prove my source of income. Yet I submitted my bank statement showing my salary that has been entering the same account for the last was in 2019, and I've been working with Terragon since 2016 for the last 3 years. You can see that. But they still rejected it because I hold a Nigerian passport, which is yeah, it wasn't a good thing. I wanted to like travel the world. I wanted to see different things, and and then Razak convinced me that UK is the place for you. And yeah, I packed my loads and left Nigeria and left the UK. Yeah.
So you've been in the UK for a number of years now, and has anything changed?
Not when you say anything changed, like what's the context?
In the context of quality of life, access, job.
Yeah, a lot of things. Like I'm trying not to blow the horns of Britain, but yeah, like the quality of life is incomparable. Like it's worlds apart.
It's subjective because, well, let's be frank, you're well to do over there.
Yeah.
So it's subjective when you ask people that kind of question.
I'm comparing my quality of life I had in Nigeria with the same quality of life I have currently living in Britain, and it's incomparable because I like this. There's just so many things I wish Nigeria had, and Britain offers. There is good roads. I don't drive and get scared of police every single time I drive there. There's good roads. My internet is good, and I don't pay stupid money for my internet because I actually pay cheap for my internet, which is quite good. There is transportation is like it works. Like might not be the greatest sometimes when it comes to like I mean, they are always canceling trains so many times, but it works. Like it works 90% of the time. Like it's good 90% of the time. I can't complain about that. Like it's just the basic things. Like it's just the basic things that I don't have to worry about again. Yeah.
Would you recommend someone in your close to your position to like move? I mean, so the situations differ, and you know, we all have different perspective and all that. But let's say someone wants to like move and say, you know what, I also want to be like, I want to emulate Arrow and try and move to the UK. What would you ask them to start? So in terms of like visa, in terms of like, maybe the right question to ask is like, how you were able to like, escaping there? Are you escaping? Good.
Yeah, I went through the global talent route. It was something that Razak brought to my notice. He told me about the global talent, and I felt like, okay, yeah, I think I met all the criteria. I was commanding a very high salary. I worked with a product-led company. I'd done great things and all that. So I knew I could like, I stood a chance getting the global talent. So I went through the global talent route, which worked for me. I applied, and then I got endorsement, and then I got my visa. So yeah, if it's something that you're thinking of, then you should consider the global. Although they've changed a lot of, they've changed a lot of requirements and stuff like that. But the fundamentals are still there. Like you need to have worked with product-led companies. You need to have basically prove yourself. Like how are you a global talent? Basically, that you're an exceptional talent. There are two think there are two pathways: exceptional promise and exceptional talent. Promise, obviously, you are an upcoming person. You are probably 1 to 3 years in your career, and you think there's potentials for improvement. And the exceptional talent, you're like 5+ years in your career, and you can show all those track record, and there's even more room for improvement. I got the talent because obviously I've had a lot of experience and all that. So yeah, those are the things that I think these are the requirements. But like I went through the global, obviously there are several different routes, like going through school or applying for a job here and getting a work visa and all that, a tier 2 visa, which obviously is the hardest. But yeah, I went through the global talent route, which I would recommend for most people.
Nice. Oh, a lot of people are considering living for UK. The Japa mindset mentality. Because people have like done that a lot. Yeah, most people have not been lucky enough to like live that advertised lifestyle. Or some people have been, a very small amount of people have been able to like meet up to the lifestyle. That's nice. Let's talk about blockchain. You used to work for a blockchain company, DeFi Pulse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did that change? Did that introduce you into getting interested in blockchain, or was it cryptocurrency that dragged you into that blockchain life?
It was crypto, to be honest. It was first crypto. I think my first thing that's crypto was like 2016 Zatek. I'm not sure if you remember Zatek in school. Was it that Zafond? There was one shit ass coin then in school, was Za something. And that was my first thing that's crypto. I remember a lot of boys investing in those things and losing their money and all that. But I didn't buy. I knew about it. I didn't buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or
that was one BTD.
Yeah,
you remember BTD, right?
Yes.
I was riding G-Wagon then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you do that?
No, I didn't do it. I didn't do any of all those. I wasn't very, very. I didn't have great appetite for risk then. And then when I moved to Ibadan was when I got into when Osho and I started living in the same building. Then it was one that kind of like introduced me to all those crypto things, like buying now some of this coin, like
I'm sure you used to call me back then about the things that you should buy. Should I buy
Ethereum dots? Yeah. Then I remember buying a lot of dots, and I remember buying. I can't remember the name of the coin. There was a coin that God of Nazareth, I bought it at 60, and it went to like 15 now. Was my rent?
Was it Matic?
Yeah, Matic. No, it wasn't Matic. I can't remember. It was from 60 to like 15. I was like, what? My rent? I put my rent on it, and I was like, oh no, I'm fucked. My landlord's going to chase me out of this house. I'm fucked. That was like, it was me and Osho then, and that's what got me very interested. And then I was fortunate enough to then join DeFi Pulse, and then I was now very heavy in the blockchain industry.
So I remember you packed a lot of money into you were telling us back then that buy this, buy that, buy this one.
I was
really excited back then.
Yeah, I was excited. I was very pro blockchain then. I'm still pro blockchain, but not as then. Back then, I was very pro blockchain. I believed in a lot of projects like FTM. FTM was my biggest project.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
What was the biggest bug?
Yeah, it was FTM. Yeah, I had my biggest bug in FTM.
FTM round though.
Yeah, it did.
Before they fucked up the entire thing.
Yeah, FTM. I think I got into FTM like 0.3. Yeah, I got into FTM very early. I think I went to like $3. I kept saying,
cash out?
Yeah, I did cash out a bit. I did a bit, and then I bought again, and I kept buying and cashing out and buying and cashing out. And I was like FTM to $5, and it never. I don't think that FTM never got.
I think it reached $4 though.
Never got to $5, and it was.
FTM is now Sonic now. The price is now like 0.45 or something right now.
That's so bad. And there was ENS too, where I bought .ETH.
And they give us the airdrop.
And they gave us the airdrop.
I think it was like so 8K. I had 8K then.
It was like almost.
No, it was 10K.
They were like 20K.
Yeah.
And then that was what Osho and I went to Zanzibar to spend.
Wait, Osho didn't get the airdrop.
No, he didn't get the airdrop. It was my airdrop we're spending in Zanzibar. We went to Zanzibar and went to spend my airdrop. Although I didn't cash out all my airdrop,
Yeah,
Try-
I cashed out mine.
I didn't
You
cash
know
out
that
mine.
you
Nah, I didn't cash out mine because I was thinking it was going to get more than that. But although I did, I mean, I bought a new laptop, I bought a new phone,
yeah.
I bought several different gadgets. I went to Zanzibar. I enjoyed my life. I did a lot of, I mean, I did things like solar and all of that out of the same money, but like I didn't cash out everything, and then everything just, yeah.
So are you pro blockchain, or like do you
Not as much as I think, because the bad players have kind of like ruined a lot of things for us. Just like with every other thing, there are always bad players in every industry, but it's worse in the blockchain industry because it's not regulated. So bad players always get away with a lot of things. I think there's
there's no bottlenecks or anything.
Yeah.
You can just run anything
Exactly.
over there.
I think there is a very big use case for blockchain, but we're not. I think
Really?
greed has kind of like taken a lot.
The what?
Like greed.
Greed?
Yeah, greed. GREED.
Oh,
People are
greed,
greedy.
greed. Right.
Yeah, people are greedy, and that's one of the biggest problems with blockchain. People are greedy, and
Can you picture a sample use case?
for blockchain,
Yeah. That helps, by the way, that helps a common, like,
yeah, money transfer ish. I mean, we as Africans, we have big issue like converting. Like, I can't take my naira to Ghana and spend my naira. Like, that's how hard it is. Like, I can't even use my Nigerian card in Ghana, my Nigerian naira card in Ghana, because we don't have it. Like, it's not possible. But like, I'm in the UK, and I travel to European countries and use my UK card, and everything is all just seamless. Like, I don't have to like think about converting money or whatever. Like, but we don't have that in Africa. So like, if there is, blockchain is kind of like one of those things that solves that problem, where I can kind of like send money to another person in another country
anywhere in the world
without thinking twice. Yeah.
or waiting five working days.
Yeah, that's the biggest use case for me. If I want to go to Ghana right now as a Nigerian, I will have to convert my money to dollars. I'll have to get actual dollars to spend in Ghana. Ghana spends cedis. I have to get actual dollars and go to Ghana and change my dollars to cedis. Like, I don't want to have to go through that hassle. Why can't I just change my naira to cedis? Although there might be some people changing naira to cedis, but it's not as seamless as we think. And obviously our cards do not work. Like, I don't want to have to carry cash every single time. We're getting into a cashless society. So to be able to tap my card, I can't easily tap my net.
Although on the other side of that, there are crypto cards now that you can actually use now.
Yeah, so I think I saw one when I went to Malaga.
Right.
Yeah, I saw one when I went to Malaga. I saw a Bitcoin ATM too, also in Malaga. Yeah, I think that's the biggest use case for me. We're not there yet. People have not. I mean, the biggest problem is adoption. People are not adopting this as much as they should.
Why do you think that is? Was it education?
Regulation? Yeah, a lot of things.
I don't think it's regulation.
People are scared. People are worried. People don't trust the blockchain.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah, people don't trust the blockchain. 1, 2. There is.
I think there's a lot of barrier to entry into knowing how blockchain works, knowing how to transfer things, setting up a wallet.
I mean, nobody knows how
all those things.
An average person does not understand how transfers work behind the scenes.
Well,
Like with Nipstar. and all of
right.
those
So you
things.
need to put all those things behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Make sure that make sure that you're now using a product. They don't even realize that you're using a blockchain behind you.
Exactly.
And it's a difficult problem to solve.
Yeah, it is a difficult problem. People just want things to work. Most of the time, I don't want to know how it works.
I don't want to give it
as long as it works. But like, obviously, like regular banks have built trust over time, and that's what people are comfortable with. So nobody wants to blockchain, another way to remove my money. And then obviously, because like I said, because of the bad players, like, and you know, when these things happen, things are usually like very, very pronounced. Like, for example, now if we go on the news now, we hear that what Bank of America was hacked. I don't think people would want to put their money in Bank of America.
Well, they will, because the government will bail them out eventually. So
fair enough.
They kind of will.
yeah, fair enough. But like, nobody's going to bail you out with blockchain. You've lost your money. You've lost your money.
There's no
People won't blame you and say, why did you put your money
yeah,
in something that is not trusted and regulated and all of that? So yeah, that's the biggest issue for me.
Although the current US administration, they're trying to like, the president literally has a meme coin. So that's like the biggest legalization that you can get with all this cryptocurrency and blockchain stuff.
I don't know what happens in the next 5 years for the adoption rates, but we'll see what happens.
So except there's a regime change in US and that doesn't favor crypto. But like as at current, I think there's enough powerful players in that kind of industry that dictates how policies go there. So I don't think the next candidate that would that wants to like come into become the US president has to dance to the tune of those kind of people. Because if you don't dance into them, I mean, you don't get funded, and they rather fund someone else who will back up their bags, basically.
Fair enough.
So that makes sense. Let's talk about I mean, you surely have some investment, but maybe you might not want to disclose some. But let me just say, like, are you excited? Have you made any investment in any blockchain company, or maybe a startup, or some guy that's trying to like do something, and then you?
No, I haven't done VC at all for blockchain. Yeah, currently I only just have cryptocurrency investment, which is as simple as Ethereum and.
What's your biggest bag?
Ethereum.
Dude, I dumped that shit like 2 months back.
Ethereum is my biggest bag because
it used to be my biggest bag. I dumped it all. It was not performing well. And another currencies were outperforming. I just asked like, I'm ranting.
It depends on what you mean by performing. Like no matter how bad Ethereum is, I'm still.
Dude, Ethereum's price right now was the same 5 years ago. While BTC is
what's Ethereum on right now?
Ethereum is like 1,700.
Yeah, so I got into Ethereum when it was like what 700.
Yeah, but like you've only made little gains on your capital, right?
Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying that
you could have 100x your money if you put it on. It says Solana or even if
fair enough. But the issue is that when I like left the blockchain industry, like when I started working for another industry,
you lost contact.
I lost contact with all of this, so I can't like keep up with having to like track Solana price and know when to sell and when not to sell. But with Ethereum, as long as it doesn't go lower than $700,
you're happy with it.
I'm happy with it, kind of, yeah, because it's still higher than when I first invested in Ethereum. Although I would obviously want to make more money from the blockchain, from cryptocurrency. But I don't know what's happening right now. I'm not very, very, very.
Do you know anything about DeFi?
Yeah. I mean, I worked for DeFi Pulse.
Okay. So. I mean, it was just like you were collecting data for them.
Yeah. I mean, you introduced me to some of those yields that some of those pools that I kind of like put my money in and get, 10%, 15%. I mean, varies 7%, sometimes 4%.
For you, since you don't, you're not, you don't like taking risks too much.
No, I like taking risks.
No, you are not. I introduced you to one pool like that. We were using like 200%. You're like, what up to my money?
Yeah, because
you preferred Aave.
Yeah, because
but are you still using Aave?
Yeah, I'm still. I still have the same thing that I did the last time. It's still in Aave. I think right now I live in the UK. I'm not going to put my life. I'm not going to risk all my money. I think the older you get, the less risk.
Fair enough.
Less appetite.
You have way more responsibility and all that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to. I'm fine with the regular 10-15% yearly, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would obviously wish to like get back into the blockchain industry. I don't see it happening anytime soon yet because I'm in a completely different industry right now. And that's how it works. Like keeping up with the blockchain industry is a full-time job. Same thing with the AI industry right now. Like I keep coming every single time online and seeing one new tool, and I'm like, how did we even get it? Like I'm still stuck on GPT 4.0 and there's 4.5. 4.5, there's mini, there's 01, this. I'm like, I don't even know which is which. And all of all that. So yeah, it's very, very difficult keeping up with all this industry. But yeah, well, with cryptocurrency, I haven't done a lot of like research reading in recent times. That's why I'm just happy with my Ethereum bag and my AAV.
So would you prefer to do your research yourself? Or
No, I don't think I have time for that. I think because I'm in a different industry right now.
So if there's someone that creates that data for you, would you be comfortable enough to like trust?
Maybe not the data. Maybe not creating the data, making informed decisions for me. Why not? Yeah.
That was interesting. So basically in UK, since the EU frowns against cryptocurrency, they're banks. If you're if your money leaves your bank account into any crypto sectionalized exchange, they ban your account immediately. If it comes inside, they ban your account. So that's like messed up. So that means you do more of legal of traditional investing than this thing.
More bonds,
What do you invest
stocks,
in basically?
mostly stocks, ETFs, Vanguard, S&P. Everybody knows S&P 500, which is like down bad right now.
Is it? I don't know where it's at right now, but it's not. I don't know where it's at right now.
Razak kept ringing S&P 500 in my ears, and I decided to go and buy S&P 500. And
Dude, you could have just bought Nvidia like
Donald Trump decided to ruin the S&P 500 for
ruin
me.
your vacation for you.
But yeah, I'm mostly just in ETFs, very ish safe ETFs, bonds, one or two stocks here and there, and that's it. And also because I've also got like something in Nigeria, which Rise Vest. I invest in their real estate plan on their application, which you thought have been not bad, 15% like average in a year, which is not bad. That's the safe thing that I've been doing. Although I want to do more risky stuff, like as they say, no, go hard or go home. Definitely go hard or go home. So I'm ready to go hard. I don't want to go home. Hopefully I don't go home, but I'm ready to go hard. So yeah.
I mean, it's risk without taking any risk. You really.
I mean, I've taken risk all my life. I took risk with school. I took risk with moving to the UK. I took risk with a lot of things.
It's keep the topic.
Oh, that's the topic.
You mentioned school just now. I can't remember that.
Oh, are my parents going to be saying this?
Most likely. You have to cast yourself.
No. I have to tell my parents not to fight or anything.
I mean, before we release to the public, you can just tell them that. You want to discuss it?
I mean, why not?
So like I remember you made it to final year.
Yeah.
But you didn't make it to graduation.
I didn't make it to graduation because I
remember you telling me that when on your final exam, you went into the exam hall and you didn't know what the hell was going on in the exam paper.
I was so confused.
You were confused about the entire thing.
Like, how did I get here?
At that point, how did you actually get? Were you like, did you lose contact with school? Did you lose all those stuff? Yeah, because there are people who are in school right now that be like, wait, so this guy didn't actually finish school and you kind of made it. I mean, let me just drop off.
Fair enough. I wanted to finish school, but I got so frustrated in part 5. I think going on IT kind of like changed a lot for me because we're out of school for like 8 months, 6 months IT plus 2 months of strike. And then coming back to school after 8 months, like almost a year out of school was, oh God of Nazareth, am I really going to do this? Like part 5 was so difficult for me to do. And then it was so painful because it was a lot of introduction courses, like introduction to networking, introduction to this, introduction to that. I felt like,
we're really doing.
Why didn't you just do these things in part 1, part 2, part 3? Like, it was... like I just totally lost interest. Like I lost interest, and then it got to the project point where my supervisor was stressing my life, and I was like, nah.
And all those how much was the salary back then? You were collecting like cool money there, right?
Not exactly, because Terragon just increased my salary from 50k to 230k.
Dude, that's like that's almost 400% increase or something like that.
Yeah, it was a case of, I've increased your salary to 230k, and I was like, nah, I think I want to face my career right now. I think school, I've tried my best with school. I've gotten all the things I needed from OAU. I met great minds. I met great people. Like, I mean, a lot of my senior colleagues paved this way for us. I was fortunate enough to organize GDG events with Dorcas and David, and all these guys, Connie Sola and stuff. But yeah, gotten all the things I needed from school, and it was a risk. Like, this is literally my life. I'm about to leave this school without actually graduating, so I have to face my life squarely, and that was why I did it.
Well, we're coming to the end of this podcast. It's been glad knowing your story and how you were able to like make it to.
My story is not the typical grass story ish.
Well, I mean,
I'm still looking for grace, please. See this, please. I need grace.
You don't buy out, shall we?
Yeah, I need to buy art. Yeah, I need to buy art. Yeah.
So, looking back now, is there anything you would have loved to say to your 15-year-old self?
Buy Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin. They tried it. To be honest, buy Bitcoin.
If you had bought it, you would have sold all the following year. I bet it with you.
Well, I probably like just forgotten about it.
Like, doubt you?
I would have bought Bitcoin for the sake of buying it and forgotten about it. I probably have forgotten about
Why
it.
you don't forget your ETH? Yeah.
No, I see. That's my point. Like, I still have my ETH from when I bought ETH.
Dude, I bet it you would have sold that Bitcoin. I know you would have sold it.
Maybe because I kind of like knew that, like, so with when I bought ETH, I bought it because I was keeping it I knew I was going to keep it for a very long time. I didn't care about the money at that point. Like, I'm just going to buy this thing and I'm going to leave it. And I've literally left my ETH like that. Like, if I give you my address and you can check, you see that when I bought ETH was like, what, 20, I can't remember the exact day, but like, you see that I still the same ETH that I bought since then. Like, I've literally not done anything on my ETH. It's just there. Like, it's just there. All I've just done is like converted some of my other bags into my Ethereum and all of that. But like, I still have my ETH. I'll tell my 15-year-old self to buy Bitcoin, but like, that's not the reason I'm going to do.
When it comes to like career, or maybe your
career,
was like worried about certain thing, and then with hindsight now, you know.
I think I would have one, like, fundamentals matter a lot in your career. There's no, like, you don't want to have to focus on like just making money, like just learning surface things and making money and all of all that. You need to kind of like understand fundamentals of whatever it is that you are trying to do, whether it's software engineering or whatever, like whatever field you find yourself in. You need to understand the fundamentals, because at the end of the day, that's what is going to determine your longevity in your career. Like, if your fundamentals are good, then you are going to be very, very good. I'm going to be very, very biased here. I'm not saying people should not study other courses and all that, but math and physics literally rule the world. I think you can actually do great things if you actually know math or physics. Even better if you know both of them. So like, if I'm going to go back to school again, I'll probably have done either physics or maths as my university degree.
Man, I sucked at maths at school.
Fair enough. I was quite good with both, and yeah, I would say maths and physics literally changes a lot.
And do you think personally, I think the advent of AI can dumb it down to people who don't have like innate interest in this stuff, or they want to like do something useful with their mathematics and physics. Like, I mean, I don't know about that part of the world, but in this part of the world, most teachers don't get to teach you the fundamentals. They themselves don't even know how to like communicate the fundamentals to students. But with the advent of AI now, you can basically prompt it and code the barest basic of this thing. How do I understand this thing from first principle point of view? How do I understand this stuff?
Yeah.
So that's a great tool that has been given humanity. I just hope that people will be able to like utilize it. Do you think people will utilize it?
I think so. But like, you still need that formal education when it comes to like math and like basically anything you're trying to do.
Yeah, but like, when can these tools like give you the fundamental?
I haven't tried them, so I can't really say if they are as good as what you get from, like, say, going to a Stanford University to learn to study BSc math or BSc physics.
Well,
and stuff. I don't know how good they are, but like, obviously, like, whatever works for you.
These things are already beating like top percentile people in mathematics. They're already clearing their questions. They're solving mathematical problems when it comes to stuff like that.
Fair enough. I haven't used a lot of AI much to do like stuff like that. I've really used it in like day-to-day productivity stuff for work. But yeah, I would see how if it works for you, why not? Like, go for it. But like I said, I'm going to be very, very biased because I'm a technical person and I am a science person. And I think math and physics are like the game changer. Like, I don't think you're going to be, in quotes, broke if you know math or physics.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are a lot of like outliers and all of that, depending on where you grew up and stuff like that. But like, I think math and physics actually kind of like change a lot of things. And if I go back to school again and study one simple course, it would be math or physics, one of it.
That's a very beautiful place to conclude this podcast. We're very, very fortunate to have you, Mr. Aru Lambo.
I'm also very
I'm still
fortunate
very
to-
surprised that Lambo is.
Yeah, Aru Lambo is my full son.
very,
My
very
brother
surprised.
uses it. My dad did not use it, but my brother uses it. It's the full surname, Aru Lambo. Yeah,
Wow. I got to know that on my own podcast.
fair enough.
Anyway, thank you for coming around.
Yeah, thank you for hosting
when,
me.
when I come to London to have you sometime next year, I hope I will like see you and
We
probably
should do this again in London.
Yeah, I think so. Probably. Well, that's a personal stuff.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Cut!